All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about some absolute ridiculous things being said about Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford, Tim Tszyu, and man, the boxing media is really out on a limb telling so many lies, man. Frustrating situation I'm going to vent on this video about the misleading and tearing down of fighters in the boxing media. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video we're going to be in the 147-pound division where some things that have been said about Errol Spence Jr. and what Errol Spence Jr. Is wanting to do next must be debunked. But unfortunately, at this point in time, especially on YouTube, pointing out people just flat out making up stories is almost becoming a full-time job, as now Errol Spence Jr. is no longer interested in rematching Terence Bud Crawford. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, thank you for coming by. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, because no joke, say what you want. I'm gonna tell you the truth as I know it, and you may like it sometimes, you may not like it at other times, but I'm gonna shoot as straight with you as I possibly can. And thank you to everybody that supports on the channel, and the super thanks. It is a great way to support the channel. Thank you, David Williams. Thank you, Barbara D. Thank you, my guy, Matty Yo, most consistent people out there supporting. And thank you to everybody else if I didn't say your name. But let's get into this, man, because I think that this really does need to be said. There are reports out there that I keep getting wind of that Errol Spence Jr. is now just waiting to fight the winner of Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. And that, once again, despite Errol Spence Jr. saying out of his mouth that he wants to fight with Terence Crawford, despite the fact that Bo Mack himself said out of his mouth, who's the manager and trainer of Terence Crawford, that fight that they're still negotiating it, despite no statement by anybody directly associated with that fight, that fight is not going to take place. Even when questions were asked of Steven Espinoza, and Steven Espinoza gave a non-answer to it. The only person that said that when I'm telling you anywhere remotely close to it, that said that the rematch is not going to happen, is Dan Rayfield, who said it seemed like the rematch wasn't going to happen because of the cataracts and things of that nature. Now, Terence Crawford himself said he's glad he's past it, but Terence Crawford also said the fight wasn't going to happen the first time. Said he was past that, right? And in that conversation, Errol said, get out your feeling, man. Come on, let's run it back. So that little conversation tells you that they are in negotiations or that they're in talks. And it also tells you that Errol Spence Jr. is not sitting around waiting for the winner between Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman. Errol Spence, last time I checked, said he was never going to fight Keith Thurman again. Never. So he's definitely not waiting on Keith Thurman. And if Keith Thurman beats Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman's not going to be the champion in that weight division. Tim Tszyu will still be the champion. It is a non-title fight. So is Errol Spence Jr. just sitting waiting on what Tim Tszyu is doing? No. And it's cool to have headlines and all of that stuff, but at a certain point in time, you start really messing up what people got going on, man, by trying to decrease the interest in the fight and just making stuff up. Because, hey, man, there ain't nothing else going on today, so let's just make it up. Then, to top that off, And I'm telling you, this is just like the most wild conversation. And people keep coming to me with this stuff and bringing up, well, you know, this is the case. You know, that's the case. No, I don't. Now, let me give you a case in point. Gervonta Tank Davis and Conor Benn. Just yesterday, and the date of this video is the 8th of February. On the 7th of February, it was reported, or on the 6th of February, it was reported that Al Heyman already had a deal given to him by Eddie Hearn. The next day, Eddie Hearn says that he's going to send the information today. But yet on YouTube, it's reported that Al Heyman already had it and was considering it the day before. But then Eddie Hearn says he's going to send it today. So Eddie Hearn sends it today. Then Gervonta Davis says on Twitter in a response to somebody that he's going to punch Teofimo Lopez in the mouth. The very same day, not 5 hours after he says it, all of a sudden, Teofimo Lopez has accepted a rehydration clause and a catch weight for a fight with the two. The world doesn't work that fast, okay? So, at a certain point in time, man, as boxing fans, we have to start saying, man, look, we're being really unfair to these fighters. We are framing people for ducks. We're putting out these things that out there is true that could not possibly be true. And I could literally go through a litany of things that could not possibly be true that are stated on a daily basis. If we are going to have new media, we don't want worse media than we already had. It's crazy. It's like we want alternative media because the media, the old school media, right? The Ring magazines, the ESPNs, the Sports Illustrated, because those guys aren't covering the fighters that we want to get covered and are leaning people one way or the other, to now we have a new media that is just making things up whole cloth. And I'm not talking just about the titles of the videos. The titles of the videos is one thing, because you got to get some type of, intrigue to get somebody to watch the video to stand out amongst the millions and millions of YouTube videos that are out there. Because there's titles coming, there's literally 3, 4, 5 million YouTube channels and millions and millions and millions of videos being done every day. So you've got to do something to stand out. But at a point in time, just making stuff up whole cloth about these fighters, man, is ridiculous. There's no way in the world that that Al Heyman or Errol Spence Jr. told anybody that they are sitting around waiting on Tim Tszyu. Ain't no way. Tim Tszyu doesn't even fight till March. So, and then Gervonta Davis does what? He's already made an offer and in negotiations for a fight with Teofimo Lopez, even though he's in negotiations with Conor Benn, and there was a deal for him to fight on DAZN, and before that, Steven Espinoza owned his contract. Can we please stop just making up stuff on these fighters? Just please, for my sake. And I'm telling you this, man, if you are a true boxing fan, we got to start calling it like it really is, man, and stop lining up these things with these people, man, because it's just it's over the top at this point in time, man. It's unfair to Errol Spence Jr. to act like that fight with Terence Crawford is not going to happen when we have no idea whether it will or it will not. To be affirmatively stating that he's off waiting for another fight, he's not waiting for another fight. They're in talks. He wants a fight with Terence Crawford. And why wouldn't he? Nobody knows what Gervonta Davis is going to do next. There's never been as consistent an attack on the PBC by any mainstream media as there is by YouTube channels, black YouTube channels, and black commentators on Twitter, and black commentators on Instagram. It's nowhere close to it. It's like they went into overdrive and saying, look, old media was this, we're going to be better at what they do than what they did. Instead of just saying every 5 minutes that the PBC is going broke, we're going to make up that their fighters ducking everybody in boxing, that they're asking for this, that they're asking for that, that they said this, that they said that, that they're ducking this, they're ducking that. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, like I said, I had to get that one up off my chest because it's at this point in time, it's ridiculous. I'm about to go on a live stream and get asked by thousand people why Gervonta Davis needs a rematch, rehydration clause against Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo Lopez fights tonight. How in the world could he possibly have asked for that? Anybody with a brain knows that that's not the case. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.